Niners lost last week, and so people are coming out the woodwork to just bury this team, particularly the quarterback, Trey Lance. It's been kind of amazing to see people that I haven't seen in a long time. Mike Martz came out of the woodwork to just destroy Trey and then go back to the woodwork. Sean Payton as well came out. I guess he's friends with Colin Cowherd and just casually said that the Niners are definitely going to have to go back to Jimmy Garoppolo at some point. So if you want Sean Payton to be the coach of this team and take over for Kyle Shanahan, just know that he's keeping Jimmy with him, all right? And I can see it because didn't Jimmy give Sean Payton the business in 2019? I think he did.
That was one of Jimmy's better games. Big moment on the road. That was a big-time game. Big-time.
So why do you think Sean Payton is taking time out of his day to say this?
I think, one, Colin Cowherd continues to talk about Trey Lance anytime he can. And two, I think it's the easier thing to say because you know what you're getting. And I think some people, whether it's coaches or whatever, they like more of what they know what they're getting, right? As opposed to the unknown. So I think there's a lot of that. Like if I was a coach, if I was Sean Payton, I can see easily like, hey, I can do these things. I can call these plays. Jimmy Garoppolo will execute it this way and we will win games. And I think some people are happy with that.
Yeah, Sean Payton was the guy who was trying to make Taysom Hill a thing. Yeah, it seems to me like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there are certain older offensive coaches who were deemed geniuses at one time, who won Super Bowls, who look at Kyle and they're like, "Oh, you're the genius now. You're the number one offensive coach in the league."
You think it's more about Kyle than it is about?
Yeah, it's like you've never. Okay, go ahead.
I think it's more about the traditional quarterback and what that looks like.
Yeah.
So you look at Mike Martz and even like Sean Payton, what he had for pretty much most of his career. And some of these other guys, right? And even me, I would say before Lamar Jackson, like I want a guy that looks a certain way. My brother, he's here right now visiting from California. He'd tell you, Eric doesn't like black quarterbacks. Like that was kind of my thing where I wanted guys traditional, call the play how I design it, drop back, throw the ball, deliver it to the receivers, and let them do the work. Mm-hmm. Well, I think since then, over the last few years, how you view the quarterback position, it just kind of has changed. And when you are someone who's kind of been away from it, definitely Mike Martz, he's been away from the NFL since this kind of transition. Or again, guys like Sean Payton, who had a certain style of quarterback for most of his career, tried to make Taysom Hill a thing. It wasn't a thing. And maybe he's like, well, you can't make some of these other guys a thing. I think it's easy to say that in the moment. And there are probably a lot of these guys who didn't like, well, I don't know, they all say they liked Josh Allen, but Josh Allen had a really, erratic play. And this is not me. I know people in the chat, Trey Lance is not Josh Allen. But I would say Josh Allen was terrible. Mm-hmm. He was terrible until he wasn't. And people didn't like him until they did. And now he's amazing. So, I'd say for the people that don't like Trey Lance, they don't like him until they do. And they will when he proves to them that they're wrong. It's just they're only giving him 3 games to do that. I think that's more of the issue.
I just want to come back to what I was saying. I know how coaches think. I talk to coaches, and I think some of them get off on criticizing their peers in a subtle way because they're competitive. And like, again, Sean Payton at one point was considered the number one offensive guy in the league and may still be. And he looks at someone like Kyle and I'm just saying maybe he's like, oh, it kind of gives, I could think it might give him pleasure to be like, oh, that little thing you're doing with the number 3 pick that you thought was, that's a bust. That's a bust. Hey, good coach though. He can win with Jimmy, but that's not going to work. And it probably makes him, because he had Taysom, but he didn't trade up to number 3 for Taysom. It's a little bit different. Right. Yep. So Sean Payton betting against Kyle. I'm betting on Kyle. I feel like not a lot of people in Kyle's corner right now after week 1. A lot of people looking at him like, do you know what you're doing? What are you thinking about Kyle right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's fine. I know there's a lot of people that I'd say here's my biggest issue with him. And I've seen it in some big moments. Yeah. Is I think Kyle he tends to kind of lack some stones. Yeah. And I remember watching the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs. And really, I watched Super Bowl against Kansas City Chiefs and just watched Andy Reid just be so aggressive with going for it. Yeah. Right? I mean, he was in scoring position. It's 4th and 2. I'm going for it. I'm going for this because that's my mindset. I saw him the following year go for it. 4th and 2, 4th and 3, whatever it was, with Chad Henne at quarterback. In a big moment, if you don't get this at midfield, you set the Browns up to actually win the game. And he goes for it. He could have easily did the conservative thing and punted the ball away. It was just this certain aggressive mindset. And I think Kyle, he tends to be more passive aggressive until he feels like for certain, like, okay, I know I can get this. We saw it last year, right? I believe it was the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Would be what I would call it.
Yeah,
conservative.
Jacksonville Jaguars. He marched down the field 20 plays, and from the 2-yard line or whatever, kicked the field goal. Now, when the game is in hand, and okay, we got this. Well, now I can go for it on 4th down, and he went for it. Yeah. And I saw him do that against the Rams during that win streak, right? Playing against the Rams. Before the half, we're not even going to – we got over a minute before the half, but we're not going to go for it. But 4th quarter, right, 4th down, you got the game in hand. What does he do? He throws a pass over the middle. I believe it was Deebo Samuel that caught it, ran for a touchdown. So
hold on real quick. Right here. I got the game book right here. 3rd quarter, they were up 10-0, playing real conservative. All of a sudden, Dante Pettis scores a touchdown. The Niners get the ball back. Remember, it's 3rd and 9. And Trey Lance does the scramble for freaking 8.5 yards and fights forward and takes 11 hits and is the bottom of a dog pile, and Kyle's like, punt on 4th and an inch. It's like,
that was kind of,
hey, man,
so that's what I was getting to. You have that moment, and I think those are the things right there that really change the dynamic of games. And we've seen it from other quarterbacks to have the coaches to have those stones. And Kyle, he's a little reluctant at first. So you had opportunity. I feel like, and again, for everything that everybody says about Trey Lance and whatnot, he was a gamer. Until, we had the monsoon, but he was running for first downs. He was throwing for first downs. I thought that was a big opportunity to really say, all right, we're up right now, and we're going to keep our foots on your neck and go for it. And he just didn't do it. And I thought that was a little weird. So some people, play calling. I don't have an issue with his play calling. I have more of an issue with that.
Niners were 8 of 17 on 3rd down, to your point. That's an improvement. That's really good. Bears weren't that. Just saying.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know how we got off topic like that, but I actually think
we got off topic because you asked me my thoughts on Kyle Shanahan.
Look, a lot of people are doubting him. He's usually doesn't have his team ready to play week 1, but neither does LaFleur. Right? The Packers got whooped week 1 last year. This year, they don't do preseason. It's kind of part of it. Kyle's won 4 straight week 2s. Let's see what happens this week against the Seahawks before we really get critical.